High school sports fans, are you following Varsity Media on our YouTube channel? For the best coverage of New York high school sports, make sure you head to youtube.com/Varsity Media. 3 easy steps. First, hit that like button, and then be sure to subscribe. And finally, tap that yellow bell to be notified of all of our upcoming sportscasts. Thank you for following Varsity Media on YouTube. High school sports fans, Varsity Media Pass is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County playoffs. For semifinal and championship coverage of boys and girls lacrosse, flag football, and baseball, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Varsity Media is the home for New York high school sports.
Snap more than the ball? We've got specialists for that. Jump shot, leave your knee shot? We've got specialists for that. Face down after that face-off? We've got specialists for that. Orlin and Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
Thank you for joining us at Farmingdale High School for one of the great rivalries in Nassau County. The Massapequa Chiefs storm in off a 4-game winning streak. The Farmingdale Dalers, your defending Long Island champions. It's Massapequa and Farmingdale right now on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And we wanted to remind you that today's game is presented by Orlin and Cohen. I'm Gavin Schull, joined by longtime Syosset assistant coach Joe Taglia. Joe, you've had an opportunity to see both these teams this year. Massapequa, a lot of people thought it'd be a rebuild for them, and instead they've been excellent. 7-4, 4 straight wins. Farmingdale, they lost a lot of talent off that state finalist team from a year ago, rebounding and getting better as this year goes along.
Yeah, they're 2 young teams, but they're finding a way to win right now. They're well coached. They do a great job out there. So, despite losing a lot of talent last year, both of them are in the middle of a good season right now, and they're making a run for the top of Class A. So
let's take a deep dive into Massapequa. We mentioned that 4-game winning streak, including a win over Wanton. They wouldn't have been able to get there without these 2 guys. The offense led by Tyler Burns, just a sophomore, was behind so many talented guys last year like Michael Durnan, Patrick Radomski, but he's had a monster season, super balanced in scoring and assisting.
Yeah, he moves the ball well as a lefty. He finds the open guys on the cuts, and he's constantly got his feet moving, looking for somebody.
You talked to Mike Draper a year ago. He said he's the next great guy in this program, certainly still on that trajectory. And then defensively, we mentioned Ryan Wieserak, kid you know well, super athletic football star, and it certainly translates to the lacrosse field.
Absolutely. He's a big kid, he's strong, and he's got that football mentality that he brings out there on the defense.
All right, so let's take a look at the full starting lineup for Massapequa. If you followed this team for the last couple of years, it's a lot of new names and a lot of young talent, particularly on attack. A freshman and a sophomore leading the way there. Nolan Wieserak, 22 points already as a freshman. Rocco Spallina, also a freshman, and he has been outstanding since being inserted into the starting lineup. Tyler Burns, Joey Diesso, Jack Gargiulo, Joe Fazio, a little bit more experience on the midfield and the defense. Nick Hink, Ryan Wieserak, Will Krieg, Michael Wygan. And then let's talk a little bit more about Michael Giannotti in net, taking over from his brother a year ago, set the standard so high, and if anything, Michael has maybe even surpassed his brother Matt in goal. He's been exceptional so far this year.
Absolutely. You don't want to take too many easy shots at him and let him get into a groove. You want to make him a little bit uncomfortable because once he starts to feel it, the ball's not really going behind him very often.
Mike Draper mentioning pregame he might be one of the best goalies on Long Island already. And now for the Farmingdale Dalers, the home team that's been struggling a little bit coming off a tough loss against Massapequa. And we'll get a look at their impact talents. And on the offensive end, it could only be one guy, Brendan O'Keefe, the returning All-American, 21 goals, 17 assists. I mean, Joe, you had to deal with him last year. Where has he gotten even better this season?
I mean, he does a great job of finding ways to produce, even in games where he's being played well defensively. He utilizes his teammates, finds a way to get open, and, he's going to make you pay if you give him too much time, too much room.
An Albany commit, he's going to be a star on the next level. And then this Farmingdale defense that lost so much from a year ago, including Trevor Gayron. Jackson Parisi's the man now. What kind of threat does he present as a long stick?
Once again, he's quick, he's strong, he plays good positioning, and he forces guys to the outside and stays on their hands and make them uncomfortable.
So let's take a look at the full starting lineup for Farmingdale. Very similar to Massapequa. If you followed that state title run with us a year ago, there are a lot of new names. Obviously, O'Keefe, Dean Cott, and then Quinn Sunday has been excellent on attack as a youngster. Sal Basilico, he was questionable coming into this game, going to play through a hamstring injury. Caden Lennon started this year on attack, moved to midfield. Josh Kama, and then defensively, we mentioned Parisi, Michael Galgano, Matt Ippoliti have both been excellent on that end. JJ Damo at faceoff, and Jimmy Caputo in net, having to fill some monster shoes. Michael Ippoliti, maybe the best goalie on Long Island last year as an All-American. Your guy would certainly be in that conversation as well. And then Caputo comes in this year, 104 saves, 58% stop percentage. He has been sublime.
Absolutely. It's a hard thing to do when you come in after a goaltender like Ippoliti last year, who really carried that Farmingdale team on his back a lot of times. So it's a lot of pressure, but he's stepping up to the plate right now. All
right, so let's take a quick look at keys to the game for both these teams. And it's funny coming in. First-year head coach for Farmingdale, Eric Dunn, said, you could kind of throw the keys out. It's a rivalry game. But out of the ones on the board, what are you focused on, Joe, in terms of what's ultimately going to decide this game?
I think definitely staying out of the penalty box for both teams. You don't want to give an offense an upper hand and an extra guy to bury one on you. So you have to make sure that you play strong man down if you do take a penalty, because you don't want to pay for it in the special teams.
Farmingdale and needs some help for Brendan O'Keefe. They've had different guys step up. They haven't had consistent options around him. So we'll step aside. When we come back, face off here from Farmingdale's. It's the Dalers and the Chief here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Snap more than the ball? We've got specialists for that. Jump shot, leave your knee shot? We've got specialists for that. Face down after that face off? We've got specialists for that. Orlin and Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
Dante does it again! Defensive play. Dante Zadaro.
Yeso steps up and scores.
A jump shot for Nell.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
About to get going here in a classic Class A rivalry between Farmingdale and Massapequa. But first, we wanted to shout out our friends at the law offices of Mark E. Alter, located in Garden City of Massapequa. Once again, we'd like to thank some of our sponsors for this broadcast, Mark Alter and Alex Galvez. So we are about to get going here. Joe, coming into this one, you've gotten to see both these teams, Massapequa earlier in the year, Farmingdale a little bit more recently. I mean, what's your feel for the trajectories? They're both on. Massapequa, I mean, at least in terms of personnel, a different team than what you saw earlier in the year. Farmingdale have kind of had highs and lows as the season has gone along.
Yeah, it's hard to find that consistency as the season goes on. I mean, the goal is to get better as you go. I think Massapequa's done a pretty good job of making those changes and growing as the season has gone on, finding guys to do what they need to get done. I'm interested to see Farmingdale today. Like you said, they've kind of been on this roller coaster up and down of both performance and emotion. So we'll see how that plays out for them today.
And neither team's had a ton of consistency this year. Massapequa, it was a lot of trying to find their best lineups with so many guys graduated a year ago who had just played together and had been fixtures on this team for the last 3 or 4 seasons. Talking to Mike Draper this week, he said, look, they just hadn't played a lot of lacrosse together, had to find that rhythm. He tried to start this year going with his veterans and pivoted to some of the younger pieces, and that's helped them a lot. As we take a look at the opening faceoff, J.J. Damo, 54% this year. Michael Wygant, 57% this year. Both first-time, full-time starters, and should be a pivotal matchup in this game. Farmingdale and Damo have struggled a little bit against some of the premier face-off men on Long Island, and Wygant going to try to present that same challenge today as here's a big scoop off the face-off shot and a goal! Ryan Wieserak from the jump! He didn't need any time to get acclimated, pouring one in, and a quick lead for Massapequa.
Amazing. I was about to say we need to keep an eye on him off the wing because he's so fast and so powerful, and he's not afraid to go to the goal, and you see it right here. Wygant battles in there, and Wieser just pops through, scoops the grounder, and takes it all the way. They let him kind of go. He maneuvers his way through and buries one.
His 9th goal on the season, has had games this year where he's led them in scoring. I mean, what kind of luxury is it to have that type of offensive talent as an LSN?
If you can steal a couple of goals as a long pole, it is game changing.
And here's the scoop from Parisi. He's saying, you know what, I'm going to go answer now. He's attacking Wieserak. Wieserak able to check it out of his stick, and Massapequa will come up with it after Parisi maybe got overexposed trying to push it up the field.
Yes, it's hard enough to dodge against him against Wieserak with a short stick. You're going to try and dodge on him on a pole, you might have to pay for it.
And Massapequa battling the ride. That's a risky pass up the field by Lamandola. He'll throw it away, and Farmingdale will have it right back. So a lot of chaos in the early going. Already 3 different possessions of the ball, a goal. We're not 15 seconds in.
Yeah, I'm sure Coach Draper right now is telling him we got to settle that down. You got the 1-goal lead right away. You don't need to do anything crazy.
And here's this Farmingdale offense that is finally mostly healthy. Of course, the top name to watch, Brendan O'Keefe, the Albany commit. But where's he going to find help in this game, Joe?
I mean, typically you'd see it from Caden Lennon, but you haven't seen that much recently from Lennon. He's definitely going to get some help from Sal Pasilko. He's a quick midi, dodges hard, and they're going to look for it from wherever they can get it. And if they can get him free, then he'll make Massapequa pay if he does.
We talked about Massapequa intentionally making lineup changes. Farmingdale, on the other hand, there's an acrobatic dodge to the cage, but Kama off on the shot. For Farmingdale, those changes have sort of been forced on them by injury. O'Keefe missing the Manhasset game. That was one that Eric Dunn, in his first year leading this program, certainly feels like they could have won. Caden Lennon's been in and out of the lineup, and they've been forced to try new guys. They feel like they're getting closer, though, to finding their top group. As here's a post-up for Lennon, baiting a tough save that time by Gennady.
That was like a pretty typical maneuver from Caden Lennon. He likes to post up there and use that size that he has to try and get an advantage on his defender and let one rip.
Right around 6'5", and juking his way to the cage is Matt Pettis. He'll lose the ball, and Farmingdale again will come up with a quick turnover. And here's Parisi trying to beat the ride.
That was another opportunity where Massapequa probably could have settled things down and drove to the cage into traffic and turned the ball over. So, Farmingdale maybe settle things in a little bit here and not rush.
Farmingdale got 2 quality looks at the cage. Gennady able to stop it both times. As we mentioned, gotten off to an exceptional start to his year.
Definitely a good scout to know that that's a post-up move from Lennon, but what a luxury for Eric Dunn and Farmingdale to be able to run Caden Lennon out of the box as a midfielder and maybe draw a matchup with him and a short stick where he can take advantage of it.
It's been a big adjustment for O'Keefe this year, just being a known commodity. And I mean, Joe, I'm sure you've seen that at Syosset in your years there, where a guy has a breakout season and all of a sudden just being defended a little bit differently the next year.
Yeah, sometimes guys have breakout seasons because they're drawing the number 2 or number 3 defender on a team, and then, not to take away from their talent, but then when teams are putting their best defender on you, it's a little bit different. There's definitely a change that has to happen there as a player.
And to be fair to O'Keefe, he was certainly drawing that top guy starting the second half of last year, was the most improved player on the team, went from a sophomore coming off a nice season to Nassau County's leading scorer, and it's more so about who graduated for Farmingdale, and so much talent gone. The numbers are a little bit down, even if he's a better overall player this season.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that senior confidence that comes into play. He really broke out big last year and had himself one heck of a season.
And we mentioned so many new names for Massapequa. Joe Fazio, one of them, spinorama, and a diving stop by Caputo.
Caputo with the save.
He's been watching a lot of Stanley Cup playoffs. He got a little bit of a pad out kick save there.
Whatever makes it work.
Hey man, if it's not in the back of the net, he's done his job. So that was a nice save. Great opportunity for Massapequa.
O'Keefe has a step, and O'Keefe has a goal through the 5-hole on Gennady, and we're tied up at 1 apiece.
Great opportunity there for O'Keefe. Got a little bit of space, no backup there from the Massapequa defense, and feeding off that save at the other end. And he just drives at the cage. He's able to get his hands free, and he is deadly like that. This is too good of a player to be able to take a shot like that.
And Albany commit getting the famous number 40 jersey to honor John Krumanacher, replacing Trevor Gayron with that honor. And then there's another face-off win. J.J. Damo chasing it down himself that time. And a timeout taken by Farmingdale, so we'll take one as well. 1-1 ball game, less than 5 minutes in. It's been a good one here from Farmingdale.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Snap more than the ball? We've got specialists for that. Jump shot, leave your knee shot? We've got specialists for that. Face down after that face off? We've got specialists for that. Orlin and Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
Bowie 4 story, 6 childhood friends from Long Island, New York, who grew up together on and around the water and developed a special connection to the serenity the water provides. That is where the Bowie 4 mantra was born. We choose the water. With every purchase made, they donate a portion of the proceeds to water conservation groups. Bowie 4 offers a full range of apparel and accessories for team stores, corporate gear, and fundraising initiatives. All of our products are designed, created, and printed on site. Buoy up your wardrobe. Get your limited edition game day hoodie for 24 hours at www.buoy4.com. See you out there on the open waters. Brendan O'Keefe tying this one up at a goal apiece after Ryan Wieserak struck less than 15 seconds into the ball game.
Yeah, it's been back and forth. Interesting to see what they decide to do here at a 1-1 game. Do they slow it down or keep pushing the pace?
Both teams have had their issues against the ride. Seeing Matt Pettis hunt for some room up the middle of the field and able to escape and advance nearly into positive territory for Massapequa, but he's still dueling with Galgano. And now Massapequa will take a timeout.
Massapequa.
So we'll keep it right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Little over 5 minutes in this one. Beautiful spring break Thursday afternoon. And let's take a look at some of the upcoming sportscasts we have on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Manhasset, they've been struggling a little bit trying to rebound against the New Jersey Power and Rumson Fairhaven. And then, man, this is a classic matchup. Garden City Northport, that one on Varsity Media Pass. Wantagh, who has been rolling in Plain Edge, rolling in lacrosse. We'll see how they do in baseball. Farmingdale, Massapequa, also baseball. Massapequa, Southside, boys lacrosse, Hauppauge, Shore, and Wading River for a Suffolk County battle. New Hyde Park, Long Beach, and then Chaminade, St. Anthony's to wrap up the Catholic season on May 7th at 5 p.m. Those should all be good. Man, Garden City, Northport, that's one I feel like I've always wanted to see, and I haven't gotten to yet. Should be a super interesting game.
Oh, absolutely. You've got two powerhouses there, and one in Nassau, one in Suffolk, and I'm interested to see how that one plays out. I'll have to tune in to watch.
There you go. Should be a lot of fun, as this one is. Massapequa and Farmingdale, always such a fun rivalry game. Eric Dunn, he was really excited. This is his first opportunity to participate in one as the head coach, replacing the Varsity Media and Farmingdale legend Mike Hungerford a year after they made it to the New York State Championship game, falling to Baldwinsville. We mentioned losing the bulk of their starting lineup for that team, and it's been a tough go for Coach Dunn, given that and the fact that this is also the first year of the Power Conference. So even though Farmingdale would always play a hard schedule in Class A, got just a little bit harder this year.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when things count a little bit more for your Power Conference, you know, most of those teams are teams that everybody in Class A would play as non-league, but you're getting some of those games as the season goes on instead of so early in the year.
That hamstring looks pretty healthy for Sal Basilico as he decleats Joe Fazio on that hit. Basilico, a football star, you certainly saw it on that play, and at least Farmingdale an opportunity to clear the ball and take the lead.
Yeah, a little bit of a weight room check there. Got good positioning on him and gave him a good pop.
Yosir low man wins. Basilico, not the tallest kid in the world, but he packs a wallop.
Massapequa's done a nice job riding, really forcing Farmingdale to utilize that 20 seconds. Almost caught him in one.
O'Keefe start, stop, and can't finish on that crease. Roll ball up for grabs, and it'll be vacuumed up by Massapequa. Adam Lamandola, maybe the fastest player on this team, unable to clear it. Bounces high and right back into the waiting stick of the predatory O'Keefe.
Yeah, O'Keefe just kind of drove to the net there. You know, wasn't maybe the best time to go, but saw an opening, saw something he liked. It was a great check, and you know, kind of coughed up the ball there. But as long as they kept the possession, were able to earn it back. You know, no harm, no foul for Farmingdale.
And certainly has a lot of autonomy at this point from Eric Dunn, being the senior, being the point guard of this offense for the second straight year. And on the run, ripping one, Josh Kama. And Farmingdale has their first lead.
Yeah, game by game, you've seen Kama kind of step into that role and help out at the midfield. He's a hustler, he's a hard worker, he's a little bit of a bull, and you see that right here. He kind of just gains that one step on the defender, and he's able to get underneath and get his hands free and just rip one to the bottom corner.
And I mean, that's the type of shot you need to beat a goalie as good as Gennady.
Absolutely. You know, he's really done a good job stepping into that role.
Michael Wygant, 57% on the year on faceoff. A SUNY Maritime commit. This was an area that was just a big-time struggle for Massapequa last year, and for all their talent, it never totally clicked as a team, partially because they couldn't get that faceoff figured out. Wygant has really stabilized them this year, and they have the ball after a win for him this time.
Yeah, he seems to be struggling a little bit against Damo. He's, you know, he's losing the clamp, he's losing the draw. He's still staying in the fight and making it a 50-50 ball for his wingers. You know, and definitely a nice win there for him. But Damo's definitely winning the clamp, and he's popping the ball out. Wygant's just staying in the fight. And, you know, got to try and play that out and see who gets tired.
Helps to have someone like Lamandola on the wing for Massapequa. All that speed as Ricky Geyer comes on for Massapequa, one of those veterans who started the year and ended up giving up a starting spot to players like Nolan Wieserak and Rocco Spallina, and Mike Draper was saying, I mean, the thing that's made this team work is the veterans. When they've had to concede time to some of the younger guys, they've taken it incredibly well. They've been ultra supportive, and it's created maybe even a better vibe this year for Massapequa than it was last year, where they were probably more talented, more experienced, and yet this year they're playing together as a team, and it doesn't matter how well you're playing together. Jimmy Caputo's going to make stops like that.
That was a great opportunity. They drew an early double on the far side and were able to bang the ball around and get a shot. But, I mean, when a goalie's hot, man, he's taking everything away, especially down low.
And Massapequa just trying to get back in transition defense. How both teams play in transition has been a big emphasis, big inflection point throughout this year, as Caden Lennon will reset the offense to Sal Basilico. Basilico fairly understated season statistically, 17 points, 10 goals, 7 assists, but you saw it on that check. You talked to Eric Dunn, he'll tell you how crucial he is to this team, and I mean, one of their best overall defenders despite being such a talented offensive mini.
Absolutely. You see so much of his hustle game in and game out, and that kind of permeates to the rest of the team. When you see an upperclassman work as hard as he does, maybe it's not on the scoreboard, but he's doing the little, intangibles.
Such a central figure on that undefeated football team 2 years ago, as he'll lose the ball this time. Massapequa, nice bit of defending. They've been really solid on that end this year, and it all starts with this guy, Ryan Wieserak. He wants his second goal, will fake a pass, and this time Farmingdale's onto him as Basilico comes back and gets a revenge turnover.
Yeah, Wieserak tried to push the pace, and you saw him step away and try and feed the opposite side, and they were all over his hands.
Galgano leads the break, and Gennady just barely got to that bullet from Lennon. Back up there for Farmingdale, so they'll restart the offense with Dean Cott. Massapequa, Joe, has not had a long possession yet. They got that goal about 10 seconds, and it almost feels like they've been trying to replicate it since.
Yeah, absolutely. They're trying to win the transition game, but right now they've turned the ball over almost every time they've been on the field, aside from a couple nice saves from Caputo. They really need to settle things down a little bit and kind of gain some patience in this moment, because you're down 2-1. Farmingdale's pushing the pace of play. They're in control. You need to settle down. You can't play defense all game.
O'Keefe isolating as Massapequa tries to get the slide over. Will Krieg just waiting on him to go middle. There's a nice bit of defending by Nick Hink, though, one-on-one. And now here's Kama, has that one goal already. This time loses the ball.
He took a nice little roll there, tried to take the lefty shot, but Gennady was all over that.
Wieserak again leading the break. Last time maybe went a little bit too far up the field. Massapequa will look for an extended possession. I mean, those two freshmen, Wieserak and Spallina, I don't think we've said either of their names yet in terms of them touching the ball, have been so good point guarding this offense. Wieserak, that 17 goal, 5 assists. Rocco Spallina, obviously a big-time name. Cousin of Joey, 11 goals, 11 assists as a freshman.
Yeah, he's a sneaky little lefty. He's got good hands. Comes from a pedigree of lacrosse players, so that's working in his favor. He's young. He's still got time to grow, but he's so good, and his stick skills are so good that he's able to step in and help as a freshman.
And ducking in this time. Again, Farmingdale closes really well defensively. It was a loose ball win for Wieserak. He had it chopped away, able to recover, and now get it to Burns, our impact player. He's been quiet so far, trying to squeeze a pass in that time, but unable to hold on to his Max Ziegler. And Farmingdale again will force the turnover.
That was an unfortunate throwaway by Massapequa. They had numbers there because one of the defensemen, I lost which one it was, but he broke his stick, so he had a little 6-on-5 there, and miss a pass, throw it over a guy's head, and that's it.
Hail Mary pass. Massapequa will come up with the ball, and they'll take quarter break, 2-1 Farmingdale after one up and down play, and a 1-goal lead for the Dalers here on the Varsity Media Sports Network as we take a look on the way out at Josh Kama. He has got a cannon, not afraid to use it. Dalers up by 1 goal.
Snap more than the ball? We've got specialists for that. Jump shot, leave your knee shot? We've got specialists for that. Face down after that face-off? We've got specialists for that. Orlin and Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
When it comes to advertising, are you hitting the right audience? Why waste your time with television or a free print publication that's given out at a local deli? Varsity Media has your back. With a following of over 50,000 and a local demographic ranging between the ages of 18 and 54 years old, it's time to get that return on investment. Plus, here's the best part. Your ad lives forever on our YouTube page. And with a large on-demand audience, it's a grand slam to advertise with Varsity Media.
Second quarter about to get underway as Massapequa struck first. Less than 10 seconds in off a face-off win. It was Ryan Wieserak. From that point on, they have not been able to string together any consistent offense, and Farmingdale, conversely, finding 2 goals. The first from, who else? Brendan O'Keefe. Second on a laser from Josh Kama. That's where we stand to start the second quarter as Wygant battles hard and nearly picked up by Lamondola. Instead, it's still a loose ball. Second, third, and fourth efforts. Farmingdale struggled on ground balls all year. Damo trying to change that as he continues to fight, attempting to strip it from Krieg. Bounces out to Wieserak, and Massapequa will have it.
Amazing sequence there of guys just almost picking up ground balls and just the timing of the checks making it almost impossible for them.
It's been maybe the single factor that's most limited Farmingdale this year. Eric Dunn saying we're minus 20 on ground balls this year with last year. I mean, they just had some killers, none more than Trevor Gayron battling for ground balls and always seemed to be a plus in that category.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fundamental that guys need to have, and maybe the inexperience of some of the younger players, that causes that difficulty, the nerves and whatever it might be, but they have the possession right now, so we'll see how it plays out.
Farmingdale, we mentioned it a few times, but under the guidance of first-year head coach Eric Dunjo. I don't know how well you know Eric, but it's the longtime defensive coordinator under Mike Hungerford. What does he bring to this legendary program?
You know what, Eric's been the defensive guy here for a long time. He's worked with Mike Hungerford for a long time, and he brings an intensity and a knowledge of the game. He was a player, and he does such a nice job of keeping his guys together. And when you're with a program for so long, there's no lapse. He's got the same, that mentality. These guys know him already. There's a familiarity with him. They're not learning, a totally new coach or what a coach wants or needs. It's kind of a seamless transition, we'll say.
I mean, it's a Farmingdale program that just had so much consistency in terms of their leadership. He's only the 4th head coach in the history of the program. They haven't missed the playoffs since 1974. They haven't had a losing season since 1974, which could be in jeopardy this year with that power conference. Farmingdale at 6-5, and this becomes a good game to push that streak. I guess this would be the 50th or 51st season of that, which is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, they have a tradition of great lacrosse here at Farmingdale, and Eric steps into a good spot here. While young, he still retained an All-American, and I don't even remember what Caden Lennon was last year. It was All-County, honorable mention All-County. But you got 2 great offensive players, and you build off that with everybody else, and that's what they're here to do. They're trying to make noise in this matchup today.
And here's Lennon right on cue, firing that one past the face of Gennady, and Farmingdale will hold on to the ball with Brendan O'Keefe. I mean, the 50 straight years with a winning record, you would think there would be just one disaster year, but you have guys like O'Keefe, and I guess you're able to survive as he can't finish that shot off after a gorgeous dodge.
Yeah, it looked like a little behind-the-back move there by O'Keefe there. Shook his defender, but couldn't get the shot off around the corner as effectively as he probably would have liked.
It almost feels like Massapequa was getting away with murder a little bit, not shading a second guy over at him. He's consistently found room along that crease, just not quite able to put it in. As that time Basilico cranked it off the post. Ball up for grabs, and the long stick of the law that time to pick it up for Massapequa. Justin Farrell running the other way. Farrell, normally a close defender, playing with that long pole right now, and will come off, unlike Wieserak.
Good job by Spallina there to get out in the alley and get that ball from the long pole and establish the box so that they can play some offense here.
Here's Jack Gargiulo, one of the few bits of experience left on this Massapequa team, a senior with 15 goals on the season. And the Chiefs here, I mean, they just want to probably hold the ball a little bit, or I guess I'm dead wrong. It's a bit of hero ball that time by Gargiulo as they continue to go fast. And at a certain point, I mean, beyond not scoring, obviously starts to affect your defense with how long they've had to be on the field.
Absolutely. You've played the majority of the game so far on defense. No matter how good your defense is, that can become unsustainable at some point. because the guys just get tired.
Massapequa's just been so solid on that end despite losing their top guy from a year ago, arguably Kevin Fiola, Quinnipiac commit. They have gotten better this season on the defensive end, and it's just been a consistency in leadership and communication from both Hink and Weezerak. Last season they mixed in some zone. This year they really haven't felt the need to. Man-to-man, straight up, and it's been working really well for them.
Yeah, you see the early slides, a little bit of a flag down there, caught him in the head. So now we're going to see if the special teams for Farmingdale can capitalize.
It's hard to give a free opportunity to someone like Brendan O'Keefe. He's going to be hyper aggressive, trying to center that pass. Will pop up a quick turnover, and Massapequa will start playing a man down now.
Yeah, the slide came a little early. Weezerak was aggressive, caught him up top. We'll see the replay here, but kind of had to go and just caught him with the slash.
Baited that time by Alex Maloney, so numbers advantage for Farmingdale. And you have a superstar like O'Keefe, someone who 6-on-6 puts an extraordinary amount of stress on a defense. It gets that much harder, obviously, a man down. He does such a good job manipulating in these situations.
Yeah, Massapequa's just got to do a good job of identifying their shooters, trying to keep their sticks in the passing lanes and staying tight together so that they don't overexpose themselves.
Here's Dean Cott. Jr. has 10 goals this season.
They're going to get into a little bit of a 3-3 here and look for that inside guy on the cuts back and forth, see if he can free up.
It's Cott right now on the interior. A shot from outside instead from Kama. Confident after that first goal. But Farmingdale will get to try again.
Not a bad spot for a shot, 12 yards just inside the hash marks, maybe a little bit far.
On O'Keefe, that's a beautiful pass. Gennady smothers up the shot, but somehow it stayed alive. And on the second try, Cott knew what to do with it. A 2-goal lead for Farmingdale.
Great effort by Cott there to stay with that. Just a bad break from Massapequa. They make a good defensive play. See it on the replay here. Who's that? O'Keefe drives, makes the feed. We get a save. Rebound comes out. He tried to pass it back to the goalie, and it's ripped off. Farrell tried to move it right back to Gennady so that they could run their clear. And smart play by Cott just to stay with it, pick it off, and dunk it.
Almost just too casual that time for Massapequa's Parisi comes up with the face-off, and Eric Dunn wants to call for time with Farmingdale in a fantastic position. Halfway through the second quarter, they're up 3-1 on Massapequa.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media Pass is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County playoffs. For semifinal and championship coverage of boys and girls lacrosse, flag football, and baseball, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Varsity Media is the home for New York high school sports.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
3-1 lead for Farmingdale. Dalers have the ball, chance to extend it after the man-up goal. It looked like Massapequa had gotten the stop, and then just a throwaway trying to get it back to Michael Gennady. Dean Cott, right place, right time, and Farmingdale in control as we pick things up midway through the second quarter on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Opening things up a little bit here, trying to create a situation where they can dodge and go to the cage.
Man, I don't know how Caden Lennon kept control of the ball there, lost his footing, able to just bounce back up.
Yeah, Weezerak was all over him. and somehow kept it in his stick. So, good on him. He kind of lost his footing there, but was able to maintain possession.
And it just feels like it's now or never. Obviously this is not the final game or one of the final few games of the season for Farmingdale, but they're finally healthy and just have an opportunity here to find some rhythm. And this would probably be their best win of the season so far. You could argue CBA New Jersey, but feels like a great chance to get right and have things going the right way after a tough loss to Wantagh to open their spring break slate. As Massapequa again struggling to clear the ball after forcing the turnover. Wieserak gets the scoop.
Ooh, baby, behind the back with the long pole right there.
Nasty, and then just squeezes in a pass just barely to Pettis. And again for Massapequa, you're looking for that extended possession. Last time around, they go fast with Gargiulo.
We got a broken stick again.
And a wide open shot, a fake, a goal. Wieserak puts it home. Ippoliti wasn't around to help, and Massapequa able to take advantage.
That's the second time we've seen Matt Ippoliti break a stick in the middle of a play. Massapequa had numbers there, and great job identifying that.
That's just bad luck for Ippoliti, right? Presumably. It's not like he glued the other stick back together and said, I'm going to try it. That's a new stick. What are the odds?
That is just a bad break for Farmingdale and for Matt Ippoliti. Good defender. He just catches a bad break there, throws a nice check, breaks his stick.
At that point, you got to be like, I'm just going to go home for the day. I'll see you guys next time. For that to happen twice, wow. We heard about the Cold Spring Harbor girls lacrosse team. They got into 2 bus accidents in 1 week, and it's some of these things are almost unbelievable.
Jeez.
Everyone was okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah. One of the best teams in the country this year, so maybe, I don't know where I'm going with that. We'll move on. Farmingdale, 3-2 lead.
Sunday got out of trouble right there. He was under a ton of pressure, getting doubled, and was able to maintain possession and get to space. See a little switch coming on defensively here to guard Caden Lennon.
Sunday been one of those newcomers who really stepped up for Eric Dunn. 15 points on 13 goals this year. One thing that stands out, you look at the statistics for Farmingdale, a lot of high goal scores, not a lot of assist numbers. It's pretty much Brendan O'Keefe, the one guy who consistently gets them. Lennon going to that post-up game. Call him Embiid. Pouring one in from up top. And Farmingdale back up by 2.
He's always a threat, especially when he posts up like that. It's not necessarily a time and room guy. He likes to back in, uses his size, and, 2 powerhouses going at it right here. And Lennon actually just takes the righty bounce shot, which is not, customarily his bread and butter. He's a big lefty, but, he hit that bounce shot just about perfectly.
Joe, what if you have a defender in that situation going up against someone as physically large as Caden Lennon? I mean, what do you even tell them in terms of trying to guard that?
I mean,
do you just say pray or what?
Yeah, just keep pushing, man. That's got to hit the weight room if he's able to keep pushing you down like that. But that's a big boy, just really using his size to his advantage. It was a nice job there.
Mentioned a big-time football star for this program for Farmingdale. Now it's Jack Waltrus trying to go to cage. Not that time. Just a 8th grader for Farmingdale. Super talented kid who's consistently finding a bigger role.
Yeah, it's great to see so many young kids in this right now. You have a bunch of freshmen playing, a couple of 8th graders, a lot of sophomores out there on the field. So, that's the state of kind of everybody right now, it seems. Everyone kind of offloaded a lot of the older talent, and now they're trying to build back up and stay relevant while also being in these transition periods.
Well, last year did feel weirdly stacked on Long Island as Kama on the run. Gennady blocks it away. There's just all these teams kind of peaking at the same time, and maybe that's how you got a scenario where, 3 different Nassau County programs went back-to-back in states, and now kind of building back up from that.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I wonder how much is the COVID effect. You had a year where kids missed out on an entire season, and how much did that play into the numbers of kids coming up? They missed middle school seasons, and now they're in 10th grade.
It's hard to measure the cascade effect of that. And I mean, it certainly led to some loaded teams these last few years coming out of it.
I think the only team not struggling for seniors right now is Southside.
Yeah, they picked the right time to peak. we were talking about that when they were playing Somers, how, I mean, it's kind of a bad timing in the sense that they have to go through Manhasset and Garden City. Also the right timing in the sense those two teams in relative rebuilds.
Is it ever really a rebuild in
quote unquote rebuilds? As Massapequa will take a time out, another one of those programs that never seems to totally rebuild, and we'll keep it right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network to take you through the 2024 Nassau County playoffs. And remind you, Varsity Media is your home for the 2023-24 Section 8 playoffs. You can go to varsitymediapass.com to order. Joe, that's the time of the year your Syosset team always seems to peak. I'm sure you're excited to get another shot at these two.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you could play some of the powerhouses in the county, you look forward to it. You know, a couple tough games for us to have dropped to both Massapequa and Farmingdale. I mean, the Farmingdale one is one you lose sleep over, and Massapequa was, you know, only a couple weeks into the season, which is uncharacteristic for us. We don't usually play them so early, but the way this new power conference kind of shook out, you know, we drew the straw on that. So, you know, interesting to see how this shakes out here today and how that plays out going forward with seedings and whatnot.
And we wanted to take you through the Power Conference standings. First, you're doing it Southside in first place, 5-1 in the Power Conference, 10-1 overall. Garden City again in the quote-unquote rebuild. They are 10-2, 4-1 in the Power Conference. Only loss in Nassau County to Southside. Wantagh fresh off blowing out Farmingdale. They've been amazing. And Manhasset a little bit down, but still in fourth place. Joe, from your perspective, how's it gone so far with the Power Conference? Obviously, I don't know, and tell me if I'm off on this. I mean, schools like Syosset, like Southside, like Farmingdale, like Massapequa already scheduled so competitively, but is the difference that there are just even less quote-unquote off days for teams like that?
Yeah, I think, you know, a bulk of those matchups we usually see early in the year when they're non-league games. Maybe you'll have one or two of them later, but you kind of get those games as you're you know, trying to find your stride early, and then you'd play your inter-conference matchups. With this, it was like, you know, we're playing Massapequa early. We don't play Garden City until next week and things like that. So, you know, it kind of shook out just a little bit differently. But when it comes to the postseason, it's, you know, it's Class A for us. Like, that's where our mind is. And these are the guys we're going to play, and you're seeing them out here today.
It was interesting talking to Eric Dunn. I mean, he was just saying, I mean, it's where Southside has maybe such an advantage, like how experience becomes even more important. And if you have a younger team, it's tough because you want to focus on yourself. You want to focus, as that was a ridiculous attempt by O'Keefe, you want to focus on yourself and getting better, and yet every game does require in-depth scouting because you're playing a Massapequa and you're playing a Wantagh, and when you have a second to take a breath, all of a sudden it's Garden City, then Manhasset, Southside. I mean, they've played all those teams already, and you're talking about kind of a who's who of not just lacrosse in New York State, but in the country. And you know who's him? Caden Lennon, the behind-the-head shot to beat the second quarter buzzer. The 6'5" Titan has his second goal in absurd fashion.
Yeah, it almost looked drawn up. He was on the cut. He was coming in hot. O'Keefe located him, gave him a nice feed to his left hand, and he bangs one behind the back at the buzzer.
Just ridiculous from Caden Lennon, the Bryant commit. 10 goals through 11 games, has 2 in the first half. He's finding his rhythm. Farmingdale's finding theirs. They lead by 3 at the break on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Snap more than the ball? We've got specialists for that. Jump shot, leave your knee shot? We've got specialists for that. Face down after that face-off? We've got specialists for that. Orlin and Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
Dante Does it again! Defensive play. Dante Zadaro. Illico!
Power move by Yeso steps up and score.
A jump shot for Nell.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media Pass is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County playoffs. For semifinal and championship coverage of boys and girls lacrosse, flag football, and baseball, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Varsity Media is the home for New York high school sports.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
Hey sports fans, did you know Varsity Media live stream broadcasts get viewed by college coaches nationwide? Through our announcers' storytelling and insight on your athletes, we can help your players get an edge on college recruiting. Find out how by reaching out to Varsity Media today, 516-403-2050, or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Thank you for joining us back at Farmingdale High School. We're lucky enough to be joined by Tim O'Mara, the legendary co-founder and director of Breakout Goaltending. Tim, give us a history lesson. How did Breakout Goaltending come to be?
Purely by accident.
Oh, good.
I moved out here chasing a girl in 2004. I was coaching at Adelphi, grabbed a few kids there, and Brian Soper, who's an Adelphi alum, had a few as well, so we got together. We were just training kids, and word got out that we were decent at it. And it kind of just grew, and eventually we figured we'd incorporate it in case anybody wanted to sue us or what have you. And so it's grown. You know, we have equal amount of boys and girls. Actually, probably right now we might even have more girls. Mm-hmm. And we've done some stuff with the clubs, and you know, we represent a lot of the high schools as well. And it's going on 20 years now, believe it or not. Crazy.
That's amazing. And beyond just the history and being in the business for 20 years, I mean, what do you think separates you guys from other people who do kind of similar type of skill training?
Good question. I think, you know, for us, we keep the ratio of trainers to goalies really low. We have a lot of staff. They're great. Mostly like people that you haven't heard of, you know, like no famous people. We have one PLL guy who works with us, Sean Scanoni, but Sean's not really, you know, a guy who gets out there too much. I think for us, it's just, you know, we have great people working with us. We get a great location. We do a lot of our stuff out of here in Farmingdale, so it's pretty central to east, west, north, south. And I think our reputation precedes us a little bit. There's a lot of guys out there doing it. They're probably cheaper, but I think for us, it's just professionalism. We're all teachers and coaches, so it's worked out well.
I'm joined by someone who can speak to the merits of your work. Joe Tagley, a longtime Syosset assistant coach. Joe, I mean, you had Zach Finkelstein last year, who on these broadcasts, on my broadcast for other networks, someone I was always raving about, talking about how incredible he was. Just a joy to broadcast. I'm sure he was even more fun to coach, and obviously longtime participant in the Breakout Goaltending.
Absolutely great kid, you know, unbelievable goaltender, and you know, to talk about Breakout, just the consistency. Year after year, you guys, you know, help churn out some great goaltenders. You know, I know another Syosset alum, Brian Oakes, helps out, does some work over there.
Third best left-handed shooter on staff.
There you go. So it's, you know, you guys are based here. You do the right thing. You're consistent, and you help create this game.
Yeah. You know, we have Jimmy in the net down there, and his backup, Maddie Hughes, who we both train, and the two girls, Jimmy's sister, who's she's going to be phenomenal. The two girls at Farmingdale as well. We've worked with several Massapequa kids over time, of course, Syosset, and it's been great. We've been happy to do it, and for us, it starts. The kids who come in like 4th, 5th grade are the kids that kind of stick with us throughout their careers, and now we're seeing them in the college games, and it's pretty cool to look each Saturday or Sunday in the box scores and see names of people that you've worked with. So it's been good. We appreciate everybody.
Tim, I'm going to say it before the end of the broadcast. So no pressure to remember everything, but where can people find you guys if they're interested in getting their kid involved?
Easiest way is 877.
I can check your work on this because I have it in front of me, but go ahead.
877-GOAL-121. Text, don't call, or breakoutgt@gmail, or we are on our socials at breakoutgt.
From chasing a girl to chasing saves, Tim O'Mara, thank you for joining us on Varsity Media. We'll have plenty more Farmingdale, Massapequa second half coming up next.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Hey sports fans, did you know Varsity Media live stream broadcasts get viewed by college coaches nationwide? Through our announcers' storytelling and insight on your athletes, we can help your players get an edge on college recruiting. Find out how by reaching out to Varsity Media today, 516-403-2050, or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Thank you for joining us back on the Varsity Media Sports Network. We just got to be joined by Tim O'Mara, the co-founder and director of Breakout Goaltending Group. Super fun to get to talk to him. And I mean, Joe, you got to take him out to dinner for something for Zach Finkelstein, because you guys were awesome last year, but he was such a key part of that team.
Yeah, it always stinks to lose a goalie that good, but Josh Weisenfeld, 10th grader for us, has really stepped up and gotten better as the year has gone on. So.
And now Farmingdale nearly stepping up after a last-second goal in the second quarter by Caden Lennon. I think Parisi almost had to finish that time, unless I got my numbers mixed up. But I mean, we said it. Massapequa got off to the best start you possibly can. I'm all tripped up right now. And from there, it's been all Farmingdale.
Yeah, they really pushed the pace right there. I mean, tried to get one bright and early here in the second half, and just barely missed. So, I'm sure at the half, Coach Draper was talking to his guys about settling things down a little bit. You don't need to necessarily get the first look that you have, but settle in a little bit, get the best one, get an opportunity that you can stick, and not run into a double or turn the ball over.
And I'm sure he was really frustrated coming out of the first half in this team that's found such a good offensive rhythm these last few games, was rushing everything, and already to start the second half you see more patience.
Absolutely. That's definitely what was going on there, but you see a great job of the D-middies here from Farmingdale, really crowding guys so they don't have time to build up a head of steam and dodge.
And sliding over that time to stop Gargiulo was Danny McLaughlin.
I actually really like the patience there by Gargiulo. In the first half, he took that opportunity and tried to force a shot. Here you see a little more patience, and that might create more opportunity for his team.
Fazio trying to bully his way in. Double team comes for Farmingdale. Great teamwork from Jake Mangio to come over, get that double team, say, you're not going to bully my boy, and Farmingdale has the ball back.
And Fazio dropped his stick there. The ball stayed in it, so that's an automatic change of possession, and Farmingdale gets to possess the ball a little bit here.
They've been the tougher, more together team through 2 quarters, scoring 5 of the last 6 goals since Weezerak's opening fireworks. And here's Quinn Sunday. He was the guy on that last shot, charging in as Kama, unable to take it on the run, but no one in to pressure him, as Lamondola will come on to play defense for Massapequa.
Definitely see the struggle Massapequa's having today with mistakes. The mistakes are coming to haunt them. Oh, great defense there by Weezerak, seeing the situation, knowing where he is on the field, and then an unfortunate low pass, and it's going to give it right back to Farmingdale to clear.
His younger brother Nolan couldn't quite grab it after Weezerak was able to pressure the 8th grader Watrous into a mistake.
Sure will be a little bit of a dinner conversation later tonight.
Hey man, I battled hard for that turn. We can't just give that up right away, but they'll get it right back, as it was, I'm going to call that a ghost stick from Maloney. It looked like it went through the netting And now charging in hard is Burns, who gives it right back.
Oh, man. I mean, that was definitely a sun play. He looked up and lost it in the sun, but turn the ball right back over. You're really shooting yourself in the foot a little bit here as Massapequa.
Oh my God, Caden Lennon taking bodies, and Gennady slicing over to ensure Massapequa didn't give up yet another goal to Lennon. Would have been his third in a row.
Gennady down in the split with the kick save there, really, just trying to keep this thing close.
And gets another stop, though that time he completely lost track of the ball. I think it went off his face mask as Cott nearly had his second of the game. But man, Lennon was cracking heads on his way to the cage. Just a beast. Finally healthy and looking to show it. Comma, start, stop, he's free. Shot high, shot in.
A little bit of an over pursuit there. By Zorek, seeing a matchup that he thought he could take advantage of, took himself out of position to chase Kama's stick. And you see it here. He had good positioning. He's driving him to the outside, and then he over pursues right there. And that's it. Stuck in the ground, and Kama just buries one there.
How about the athleticism for the sophomore? That quick restart, powerful lower body, football player, wrestler. Certainly has that inherent explosion you're looking for.
Yeah, Massapequa going with a different face-off guy here. They just went with Stanton. He jumped early, and Farmingdale ball again.
Aiden Stanton, he split the job with Wygand, if memory serves, a season ago, and so far this year he's at 54% in limited opportunities. He's taken 28 on the year, while Wygand has taken just over 80. Farmingdale pushing again. Massapequa will have it back, but can they finally find a quality offensive possession? They can barely find the ball right now, but on the run, a nice scoop by Wygand. Massapequa, this is where they've thrived all year, in transition, start and stop for Pettis. Pass, Burns, doesn't go in. Some breakout goaltending, and Gargiulo, man, that was the ground ball of the game. Full speed, able to snatch it up.
Great awareness there by Gargiulo, coming onto the field and scooping that up just before Farmingdale could get a hold of it, or it becomes an over and back situation.
It was hard to tell if that was lucky or if he just timed that up so perfectly, but a great gauge of the speed the ball was moving at to track it. Almost like a wide receiver. He'll try to ISO here as he's tagged by Sean Schumeyer.
See a good opportunity here to get the matchup with the short stick and try and drive to the cage, use his body and his size.
He's a big-time north-south dodger and
stepped in the crease.
Yeah, lost the ball. Story of the game so far for Massapequa, unfortunately. They've been outscored 6-1 since the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, definitely see a bit of confidence from the Farmingdale sideline and from the guys on the field. They've got control right now, and they're not letting up.
O'Keefe versus Hink. It's been a fun duel all day between two great seniors.
I'd love to see it over there. Good matchups make the game fun. Especially from here.
Another one. Yeah, you don't have to stress about it, comma. Somehow gets that pass through. Now loose ball. Again, Massapequa failing to come up with it. Hink just couldn't take it off the carpet.
Got a little lucky there, that little handcuff pass down low. And, Sunday kind of couldn't handle it. But ball's on the turf, and Massapequa just outside their reach. And Farmingdale now take their time, settle back in, get what they want.
And again, you have to give Farmingdale credit because that's an area they've struggled this entire season. O'Keefe battling to get a step. Hink took the angle. Nothing doing for Sunday. So Kama will try his hand against Krieg. Roll dodge, Kama, that explosion! Shot it high though. And this is a game that could give Josh Kama, a lot of confidence going forward. Just 5 goals through 10 games, 2 so far in this one.
And if you see Jack Gargiulo down there trying to really face guard and stay with and lock off Caden Lennon so he can't get the ball.
And there's O'Keefe working some magic and said, you're going to take away Caden Lennon. You better remember who the number 1 dog is. 7-2 Dalers.
Scored by number 40, Brendan O'Keefe.
You know, O'Keefe uses Caden Lennon here as a little bit of a screen and a pick. Gets his defender hung up, and that's all he needs is a step or two to turn the corner and get his hands free and let one go.
And we wanted to thank one of our great sponsors for this game, the law offices of Mark E. Alter. Remember, they're located in Garden City in Massapequa. One more time, we'd like to thank our fantastic sponsors, Mark Alter and Alex Galvez. So I'm sure a little bit of negotiating going on with Mike Draper and his team in this Massapequa huddle. Coach Draper, a 1999 graduate of Massapequa goaltender, has had great goalies with the Giannotti brothers his first few years here, but Massapequa struggled a little bit these last few years, coming off that state title team in 2019. Always talent in the area, and it's always a challenge for a coach like Mike Draper to just get it pointed all in the right direction.
Yeah, you know, Drape was around Massapequa for a long time, and then he was over at Adelphi for a little bit and came back. You know, it was a little bit of an upheaval after winning a state championship and making the changes that they made at Massapequa. But, you know, he's done a nice job. Guys buy in. They like him. He's a great coach. And, you know, right now it's just the little things are hurting Massapequa. Dropping the ball, not picking up those ground balls, and, you know, those are the things you got to kind of get right as we head into May.
Yeah, as much as last year's team, I think the Coach Draper more than anyone else was frustrating, just because, I mean, you look at the names: Patrick Radomski, Michael Durnan, Aiden Christie, Kevin Fiola, Jack Schiffel, Will Burney, Ryan Fountain. I mean, there was just so much talent there, and it felt like it never quite added up to some of his parts. I mean, he's done such a good job with the team this year. We mentioned 2 freshmen starting on attack. I mean, the midfielders is mostly guys who didn't have starting experience, and they come out and beat a team like Wantagh a few years ago, where, I mean, similar to Southside, this is kind of their year, in Massapequa able to take them down and kind of announce to everyone, all right, we're on a trajectory to be playing on a level where you compete for Nassau County championships, compete for state championships, maybe eventually. Still just a really young team, though.
Absolutely. A nice change there from Coach Draper, a little adjustment. Has Wizora take the face-off with the long pole and causes a turnover. And now Massapequa gets to play a little offense, and we'll see what they do with this.
Yeah, and certainly just desperate for a goal at this point, down by 5. Have yet to score in this second half, more than halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah, it's, you know, lacrosse is an interesting game because there's only 4:42 left in the third, but there's still no need to panic. It's still, so many things can happen so quickly that, like, get what you want right now. You can only score 1 goal at a time. It's not the PLL. So, you know, there's no rush to take one from downtown or from a bad position. Get what you like and see what happens.
And it is just, I mean, it's a game that definitely makes you believe in momentum. You get one and the vibe shifts very quickly.
Yeah, big time game of emotion. When the sideline gets all hyped up after a nice goal, you know, you kind of carry that to get another and see where that takes you. But it's certainly far from over right now.
Here's Nolan Wieserak. Quiet game for him and Rocco Spallina. 2-man action. Burns trying to get the hands free, racing middle, but smothering it up is Caputo, who stood on his head all day for Farmingdale.
It was a great little setup there. A nice take, but unfortunately, just, you know, that high-to-high shot is not really going to go. Burns got his hands free, he did everything right. You know, maybe a little bit of a change of plane on the shot would have served him better.
So Farmingdale will take a timeout, a 5-goal lead with 3.5 minutes to go in the third. Eric Dunn and company in great position as the Dalers are rolling here at home.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's premier high school sports network. Did you just have the best athletic year of your life, and now you want to show it off to college coaches? Well, let Varsity Media help you. Varsity Media's college recruiting videos show off your unique skills to help you land a spot on the team of your dream school. We'll provide music, spot shadow effects, and a link to send to your next coach. Contact us today for more information. Don't rely on word of mouth or cold emails. Let Varsity Media help you take your game to the next level. Looking to grow your business on social media? Let Varsity Media help you. With over 50,000 followers across our platform, sponsor a segment during the broadcast and share it on social media the next day. It's the best of both worlds, as you'll get thousands of plays and your ad will live on the broadcast forever. Contact us today for sponsorship packages by calling 917-470-0864 or emailing varsitymediasponsors@gmail.com.
7-2 lead for Farmingdale, and we can go through the schedule for the Dalers. I don't think they've had a win quite this impressive, assuming they can hold on this year. Opening the season, losing by 10 to Garden City, beat North Shore, beat Roslyn, give Manhasset a good game, knock off West Islip, who lost so much from a year ago. CBA New Jersey, that was a big one against the powerhouse from across the Hudson River, beat Oceanside. Obviously, their win over you guys, 9-8, Heartstopper. This would be in the mix for their most complete game of the year, certainly, if they can keep playing this way.
Anytime you could take a rival and be up 5, and we'll see where it finishes up. But when you've got 5 goals on a team that you need to beat in Conference A, with the postseason coming up and all that fun stuff ahead of us in May, this would be a good win for this Farmingdale team.
O'Keefe got the hands free. It was just a last-second jut in by Pettis that denied a potential 6-goal lead for Farmingdale, but it's a great point. And I mean, Eric Dunn was saying, he's like, I can tell you keys to the game, but often, they all go out the window the second you hear that first whistle in a rivalry game. So much emotion, and Farmingdale's been the team more under control that's really executed throughout, as Giannotti's continued to do his job for Massapequa in net, stopping that one from Kama.
Yeah, another point-blank save for Giannotti. If they end up squeaking this one out in the end, they better be thanking that guy. Buy him a couple pizzas or something.
And again on the ride, Farmingdale such a threat as O'Keefe nearly got that ball free. Massapequa, though, able to recover and advance it with 2:25 to go in the third.
Still plenty of time, plenty of lacrosse left to be played.
DSO fumbles that ball. And Farmingdale's just been ultra physical throughout, though that time they'll pay for it on a flag.
Yeah, a little bit of a push from behind with possession. They'll kill some time here, get what they like, and then they'll be up a man for 30 seconds if they don't score.
I want to keep looking for him. I haven't really noticed South Basilico in this second half battling through that hamstring injury. There's some eerie music behind us. And finding it is Pettis. Pettis charging in, hard release, but Caputo's unbreakable. And now a man-up opportunity for Massapequa, but Caputo, I guess it's that breakout goaltending training. He's been excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Dropped down there, made the save on the shot. He did have, did take the shot there, Pettis, but he did have Fazio on the backside there, wide open.
I remember, talking to Mike Draper a year ago, if I'm recalling correctly. That was a big issue for Massapequa, where they would kind of try to make hero ball plays, and it wasn't out of selfishness. It was out of, hey, we're struggling. I need to be the guy to pull us back into this. And this year they've done a better job of not doing that. He said, look, we might not be as technically skilled as we were a year ago, but just clicking and playing so well together. And today, at least so far, partially induced by Farmingdale playing so well, it's been a little bit of a departure from that. That's a risky skip pass. Tough scoop by Gargiulo. Couple of fakes by Wieserak. The creepy music's not stopping. Maybe an ice cream truck.
Back to even. No shots on the man-up opportunity.
That's a killer. Wieserak behind the head pass, trying to get tricky and unable to handle it was Geyer, the senior. So another stop for Farmingdale. And McLaughlin, nice job clearing it against the ride.
You can definitely see the difference in age there on a play like that, where both young players come together on that long pole and not strong enough maybe to get body on him, and he's able to spin out of trouble. Maybe in a year or two, both of those kids make a good body check there and cause a turnover.
So here's O'Keefe, just 17 seconds to go in the quarter. Caden Lennon got the buzzer beater to end the second. Can Massapequa replicate the feat? Again, working that screen game with him. Cutter in, jump shot! finds its way home on the run. The one-timer for Quinn Sunday. It's the weekend.
Farmingdale goal scored by number 15, Quinn.
Set up the dodge with the pick here from Lennon.
Assist on that goal, number
O'Keefe just
42,
finds Sunday on the cut.
Brennan.
Looked like there might have even been a pick away there. He gets just the step he needs, a great feed, catch and finish.
And it's hard. We'd really have to slow that down to see how he fit that ball in, because I saw Gennady looking to the back then. I wasn't ready to call it a goal. It's like, where was there room? But went just high enough. So one more face-off with 7 seconds to go in the quarter. Farmingdale can just throw up a Hail Mary. Jake Mangio chucks it forward, and that'll do it. A third quarter dominated by the Dalers. A game-high 6-goal lead. Massapequa needing a miracle to pull this rivalry game out when we come back on the Varsity Media Sports Network. O'Keefe to Sunday. Oh, yeah. Tough shot. Farmingdale up big.
Varsity Media offers live streaming services for any sport. With human beings behind the camera, you can expect the proper coverage angles during each game. We offer customizable options such as live scoreboard, multiple cameras, instant replay, graphics, and even announcers. Find out how you can save $100 off a live stream package with Varsity Media by calling 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us back on the Varsity Media Sports Network. 8-2 lead for Farmingdale. And one more time, we wanted to thank our fantastic sponsors, the law offices of Mark E. Alter, located in Garden City in Massapequa. We'd like to thank Mark Alter and Alex Galvez. 8-2 ball game after a 3-0 third quarter in Farmingdale's favor. We were talking coming out of half about Massapequa slowing down, playing with a bit more patience. They were able to do that to some extent offensively. It just hasn't led to anything. I mean, between Caputo and Farmingdale's close defenders, it just, there haven't been a lot of options for Massapequa.
Now couple that with dropping the ball and missing some ground ball opportunities or some fast break passes, and that's where you are.
Damo forces the turnover, but Massapequa committed a foul and getting it. Matt Pettis very frustrated with the call. And he'll hit the penalty box for a minute. So another look at it. Well, I mean, what did you see here on that check?
I mean, that's a textbook cross check. His hands are apart. He catches the guy a little bit high. You know, sometimes they let those things go, but when you're up high like that, it almost makes it so that they have to make that call.
I know when you ask coaches, they most often say the number one thing they're looking for is consistency. Do you have a preference on the amount of physicality allowed?
I grew up playing in the 90s and the early 2000s.
different game back then?
No, it was a physical. Lacrosse was physical. So I think sometimes guys are quick to throw the flag on a physical play, even when it's clean. That was a cross check. You know, it's a tough time to get that cross check because it looked like a nice play. Unfortunately, his hands were apart on the stick, and that's an easy call.
So an errant pass. Massapequa gets it back. A man down. Gargiulo charging up, and a good opportunity here for Massapequa to kill this penalty. I mean, to that point, we did see Sal Basilico get away with one of the hits of the year in that first half.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice weight room check.
Massapequa will hold and wait to get back to even strength. Though when you're down 6 goals, it's one of those tricky situations where it's like, all right, do I just have to go? But down a man, not the time to do it.
No, get yourself back to even, and now you can play offense.
So Fazio and Wizorak will come on. Both quiet days.
Quick switch there by Farmingdale. Putting a lot of pressure on the Dodgers.
DSO also has not been able to do much. Nothing for Burns, nothing for Gargiulo. Wizorak scored that first goal, and Nolan Wizorak had the second. And again, Farmingdale able to get a stop. Ambitious clear attempt. I mean, Farmingdale, I don't know why you need to make that pass, but it doesn't matter as it gets through to O'Keefe.
Somehow, some way, that long distance bounce pass clear has worked for Farmingdale.
Gone to it a couple of times, and just a Hail Mary up by 6 goals. And one of those days where outside of the repeated broken sticks for Ippoliti, everything's gone their way.
Yeah, the table has definitely been leaning Farmingdale, kind of throughout each quarter, other than that real opening sequence. You thought it might have been a long day for the Dalers, but they've managed to maintain their composure and turn this thing around.
Pettis comes out of the penalty box and immediately picks up another penalty.
And you can see the coaching staff just getting their hands up, telling them to settle down a little bit. Let's really utilize this opportunity. And that's kind of where they're at right now for Farmingdale. There's a flag on the field. They know they're going to be up. Get what you want.
Last year in New York State High School lacrosse without that shot clock, and I think coaches are pretty universal in being incredibly excited about it being incorporated into the game at the same time, as long as it's not there. Going to take advantage of it as Maloney fires wide, and now the man up triggers for Farmingdale.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the shot clock is concerned, it's exciting for all of us. When you watch the college game, you see the urgency that guys have to play with, the pace of play, makes it a little bit more exciting.
Yeah.
It kind of takes away from some programs that like to slow the pace down, or even as an offense, if you played a lot of defense, you want to slow things down and kind of let your guys recover. There's no opportunity for that starting next year. It's going to be intense, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And it's good for the kids, right? Because, I mean, I'm sure right now that is a major adjustment when you go from high school to college lacrosse, and like a game that is inherently faster just because of the level of athletes, and it gets doubled because you have a shot clock now. At least one of those elements you're playing your whole life under.
Absolutely, and a lot of those guys come back and they come to our games, and they, you talk to them afterwards and like, I forgot how slow this is.
Yeah. Like, why did I score like 100 points? Like, I could have killed it against this.
Not only is the pace of play physically slow, but
a good pass, good cut, paid off that time by Dean Cott, his second goal, as Farmingdale continues to roll it home.
Yeah, I mean, nothing but a great cut and feed there. That's what Farmingdale was looking for with the 2 guys behind. Now move the ball around, throw it behind, and then look opposite and then they look for that offside cutter to just come down. And that was perfectly exactly how they drew that play up.
I mean, their offense is, especially in a man-up opportunity, really structured to just find O'Keefe, and he's going to make the right decision once he gets the ball. As there's yet another face-off win for Damo, who's been excellent in the circle today, forcing Mike Draper to have flashbacks to last year where they'd have games where they would consistently try 3 different guys, just trying to find something. Wygan has mostly been really good this year, but Damo's had his number and the number of pretty much everyone Massapequa was tried there.
Yeah, Wygan's a really strong face-off guy, and it's unfortunate for him. It kind of just didn't go his way today. Damo had a good day, and that happens, and it kind of throws off your whole plan if you're not winning face-offs.
And how much of facing off is matchup based? Obviously, I mean, you guys had someone in Luca Cardo who won pretty much every time a few years ago, and you see guys like that who are just dominant. But when you have players who are both just north of 50%, I mean, sometimes it's a styles make fight situation, is it not?
Absolutely, and if you have a guy that knows how to kind of just muck it up if he has to, that can help you in the long run in that game when you have somebody who's a technician. But it really is a matchup thing. It's a style thing. And some guys just get each other's numbers, and there's nothing you can do about it.
It's always so interesting. It's something someone who's relatively new to the game I always want to learn more about. So Keefe, I mean, at this point, he can try that shot. And ran down as Farmingdale. I mean, Dean Cott able to get to that ball, and they're making the plays in this one they haven't all season. Talking to Eric Dunn, he said, look, when we've struggled, it hasn't been an effort issue, right? The intensity has been there. It's very similar to where it was last year. It's been an execution issue. It's been guys often trying to do too much, and he said the phrase he keeps going back to with this team is the simple play is the right play. No one has to be Superman, and it feels like they've really internalized that. This game, Massapequa was almost done the opposite, and in turn, the Dalers up by 7 goals halfway through the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and you've seen Eric Dunn, kind of mess around with his lineup a bit, especially earlier this year, giving a lot of runs to different guys throughout games. He's kind of settled into like who his real 6 or 7 offensive guys are, and he's kind of letting them fly here today. You haven't seen too many different midfielders come on the field, or too many changes from a guy to midfield to attack, or vice versa. So he seems like he's kind of finding the recipe that he likes, and the team is, it's paying off right now at a 9-2 lead.
And maybe this is again due to just how loaded things were a year ago, and I think part of that COVID effect. I mean, a lot of these seniors this year were freshmen that year. I think in fact all of them. And you hear from just different people around Long Island, like, hey, maybe because of that, this isn't quite as strong of a senior class. And you saw different coaches start the year trying to play their upperclassmen and realizing in some cases the freshmen were just a little further ahead or more talented. And some of these teams have gotten better and found more of a rhythm as they've started to trust their younger players, and their younger players have caught up. And I think with both Farmingdale and Massapequa, that's happened to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, when you have guys who are a little bit older and miss a season, that's a tough break, and they're missing out on some valuable time. Those were kids who were probably on JV, who missed out on some great instruction and a little bit of knowledge of the game that would pay off for them at this point. Whereas the younger kids, they were still in middle school. There was time to catch up. You're still developing a bit there. So the older guys, they missed out on some valuable opportunities. But you know what? They've got some great seniors out here on the field for both teams, and sprinkle in some young guys with them, and you see a good lacrosse game.
Quick dodge. Nice couple of moves strung together by Camo, and that one tickles the twine. A hat trick for Caden Lennon, and a scary sight for the rest of Nassau lacrosse, as he's appeared to find his rhythm. 10 goals through 11 games, and now 3 in his 12th.
I mean, he, great job protecting the ball, keeping the possession alive here by Kama. But when Caden Lennon has that much time and room, even from 15 yards, if he's putting it on the 6x6, better hope you make a save, because that thing's going to strike the back of the net.
On that loaded team a year ago, the Bryan commit was second behind O'Keefe with 47 points, and Farmingdale was so defined by their balance last year, 6 or 7 guys apiece with 20 points. But Lennon was that second option to O'Keefe. He's had a frustrating start to this year, moved from attack to midfield just because Farmingdale needed another body and a physical presence at that spot. He's missed time with injuries, and that's kind of slowed down the transition to a new position. And he's starting to find himself, and it's going to make such a big difference because they knew going into the year him and O'Keefe were kind of the two guys coming back from last year's team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for Lennon, it's a little bit of an adjustment, but it gives him an opportunity, one, to make sure he gets the ball, especially if you have 2 great attackmen just sitting down there and no one's able to get it to him.
Great point, yeah.
It's tough. But also, he can draw a short stick from time to time, and that, a matchup like that for him is kind of what he would love to see. If he gets matched up on a short stick, he can go.
It's lights out. It's just too big at that point. Schumeyer in for Farmingdale as Eric Dunn will have some of his vets get on the field. Up by 8 with 3.5 minutes to go. A little over 3.5 minutes. I mean, as someone, obviously, you played Massapequa a lot earlier in the season, somewhat different personnel at this point, but as someone who's faced both of them, how shocking is this result to you? Or just something that can happen on any given day when you have 2 teams this good?
Yeah, I think with Conference A, we have such an interesting dynamic where this could happen on any given day, and I would say 95% of the time you're in a 1-goal game no matter what. I am a little bit surprised to see this much disparity between 2, at least on the scoreboard. But again, it comes back down to possessions. It comes back down to taking care of the ball. And Farmingdale's just done a better job of keeping the ball in their stick. And, when it's a bad bounce or a drop pass, they somehow manage to get it back. Whereas Massapequa forces a turnover and then throws it away almost immediately. You can't win like that. It's going to, it makes for a long day.
And we've mentioned a couple times, but I think it's worth saying again, Massapequa came into this game on such a high, that 9-2 win off Long Island over Lakeland Panis, a 15-10 win over a Mount Sinai team that's down this year, but obviously is a perennial contender in Suffolk County. A 1-goal win over Wantagh that I don't think anyone really saw coming, and then blowing out Hauppauge 9-3, and maybe just coming in. And look, they never take Farmingdale lightly, just because it's such a rivalry game. As a bunch of laundry littering the field now, Massapequa getting ultra physical, trying to get this ball back.
Yeah, you see frustration set in here a little bit. One penalty, not great. The next one, a big cross check on someone just outside the crease, and they're frustrated. It's 10-2, and sticks start to fly.
Pettis will come off again. It's been a penalty-strewn second half for him. As we take another look, yep, that is a no-brainer.
It was the same guy twice, 2 cross checks. Definitely frustration there.
10 seconds is the release.
Obviously, you never want a player to have 3 penalties and a half. So maybe this is a dumb question, but as a coach, does part of you like that? You're like, hey, at least someone frustrated with how this is going.
You know what? You feel for him because the frustration is there, and he's not trying to take penalties. He's just trying to work hard. Unfortunately, you don't want to do that. Put your team at a disadvantage.
All right, so the answer is no. I got you.
I don't like penalties.
No, that's fair. And let's head into a more positive note. Our Speed Island play of the game, brought to you by www.speedislandny.com. Improve your speed with Onyx Salva and team, located in Garden City. Visit speedislandny.com to book your session today. And it can only be won. The game certainly started on a positive for Massapequa. Wygand opening face-off win. Weezerak takes it at full speed, and then he knows exactly what to do with it.
Still can't believe he maneuvered his stick around the defender like that and was still able to finish there. It was a great play. Definitely speedy.
Just seemed like someone in a crowded grocery store, like, excuse me, gotta go, gotta get back home, and just finding a way to goal. Again, that was your Speed Island play of the game. Still to come, our breakout goaltending save of the game. We'll have that for you to wrap this one up on the Varsity Media Sports Network. A 10-2 lead for Farmingdale over Massapequa. To recap the scoring for the Dalers: 2 goals for Dean Cott, 1 for Quinn Sunday, 2 for Josh Kama, Brendan O'Keefe with 2, and a hat trick for Caden Lennon. As to your point, it's been a lot of the same guys on the field for this entire game. Eric Dunn saying, look, we're not quite as deep as we were a year ago, but the big difference for the Dalers is now they know who their guys are, they know who to ride, and it feels like they are starting to find a rhythm together.
Yeah, you can see the comfortability setting in a little bit here offensively for Farmingdale. They know what they have now, and they know that the guys whose numbers are going to be called when the game matters. So they'll settle in here, probably move the ball around. They've got 2 minutes of being up here, so.
For both these teams, there is certainly no rest for the wary. Farmingdale going to have a challenging, fun non-conference game with Haldane, a team that's been in the state basketball final the last 2 years, made up of a lot of lacrosse guys on those teams. And Port Washington, a really talented Island Trees team, and then they'll finish up the season against tough Cold Spring Harbor side. For Massapequa, just doesn't get any easier. Seaford, and then just a killer last 3 games at Cold Spring Harbor, at Southside, at Manhasset. So Mike Draper going to have to figure this out fast, but we've seen the ceiling of this Massapequa team. If you can beat Wantagh, I think you can beat anyone in Nassau County this year, so they're certainly capable. Just have to, and it's true for Farmingdale maybe even more so, have to find that consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like I said before, you're kind of running the gauntlet this year with some of the teams you have just in the Power Conference. And then, this is kind of pretty important game for seeding going forward. When Farmingdale plays Port Washington, that kind of will set the field the rest of the way for Conference A.
Nice skip pass, couple fakes, and the shot deflected at the last second. A golden look for Lamandola. It's been that kind of day for Massapequa offensively, though.
I was just going to say, it's kind of a microcosm of what they've looked at today. Just that, make the good pass, get a couple of fakes, and just get it tipped away.
Tyler Burns looking to get one on the board, out to Gargiulo, who put all of his frustration into that one shot, a heater. And Massapequa will end on a positive note.
Absolute beautiful step down shot there, shorthanded, but under no pressure, just able to step in and let one rip. Looked like it went just off his stick side. Plenty of time, plenty of room, just off that off-stick hip and in the back of the cage.
Gargiulo, one of the hardest shots on this Massapequa team, and we got to see it uncorked that time. So one more face-off win for Massapequa, and Wygan, a little bit of confidence to end this game. He says, why not? I'm going to step down and take one. Wide of the net. Clock will stop with 5 seconds left, but that'll just about do it. An impressive rivalry win for the Farmingdale Dalers in a season full of frustration, coming off a Long Island Championship state title appearance, new coach, bunch of new players. This is the kind of game that gets everyone going the same direction.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to use this and try to build off this as we kind of hit the end of the season and move our way to May. Try and take care of some of those nagging injuries and get yourself right going forward.
So we will take a quick break. We'll come back with our breakout goaltending save of the game. That next on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Snap more than the ball? We've got specialists for that. Jump shot, leave your knee shot? We've got specialists for that. Face down after that face off? We've got specialists for that. Orlin and Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
Dante does it again! Defensive play. Dante Zadaro. Illico ties it up. Move by
Yeso steps up and score.
A jump shot, Fennell.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
All right, guys, we are back. It is the moment you have all been waiting for, our breakout goaltending save of the game, and it comes from a kid who goes to breakout goaltending in Jimmy Caputo. Joe, let's take everyone back. This was a competitive game early in the first half, and, I mean, you brought up the Stanley Cup. He's been watching some hockey. Let's check it out.
There it is, nice kick save. You see the high to low shot there, and he's able to get down, get almost in a split, and get a piece of that.
Ironically, it was one of the best shots of the day for Massapequa, but Jimmy Caputo said no. The save of the game is brought to you by Breakout Goaltending Group, Long Island's longest-running goalie-exclusive training program, serving elementary through college age all year round since 2004. And now it's time for our Bowie 4 player of the game. Who else could it be but Mr. Caden Lennon? A hat trick in this one and a second quarter buzzer beater for the ages. And we are joined now by Caden Lennon. Caden, can you hear us over there?
Yes, sir.
Frustrating start to the season for you guys. I know, I presume you could tell me if I'm off on this. Frustrating start to the year for you personally. I mean, what went into today in just a performance where you guys hit on all cylinders?
Honestly, it's Massapequa Farmingdale. I mean, everyone's always riled up for that. Everyone loves this game. Favorite game of the season, to be honest.
All right, take me through that second quarter goal, man. That was dirty. What went into that?
We got a fire feeder at X, number 40, Brendan O'Keefe. He's the man. So he found me, and I finished it.
Caden, things are a little inconsistent for you, as Gavin pointed out earlier this year, but I noticed you settle in. You looked a little more comfortable today than you have in a couple of previous games. What were you seeing out there that kind of led to that comfortability for you?
Honestly, we've had good practices the last 2 days, and if they want to press out of Jason, like our coach said, we just got to go run by them. So that's exactly what we did, and we had success with that today.
How do you feel about the trajectory of this team? Obviously, you guys were state finalists a year ago. You knew it was going to be a little different this year with all the veterans. You lost off that team a lot on your and Brendan's shoulders, but, I mean, today feels like maybe the start is something for you guys, finding a rhythm. What are you projecting going forward?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, we graduated a lot, but that does not, like, all these guys every day, they work super hard, and we just show up, and we're going to be fine. I know this team can repeat what we did last year.
Any changes going forward for you guys going into the postseason here? You got a little bit of few tough matchups coming up. Anything you see differently?
I don't really think so. I think we're just going to keep playing.
All right, Caden Lennon, a hat trick, a breakout performance, our Bowie 4 player of the game, and going to get our Bowie 4 hoodie for the player of the game. Really cool opportunity, joining some elite ranks in getting this award. Cool hoodie, cool moment. Caden Lennon and company. Farmingdale, a 10-3 victory over Massapequa. They're on the roll. Caden, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy that hoodie.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, Caden. And we wanted to remind you the Bowie 4 story, 6 childhood friends from Long Island, New York, who grew up together on and around the water and developed a special connection to serenity that the water provides. That is where the Bowie 4 mantra is born. We choose the water. With every purchase made, they donate a portion of the proceeds to water conservation groups. Bowie 4 offers a wide range of apparel and accessories for team stores, corporate gear, and fundraising initiatives. All of our products are designed, created, and printed on site. Buoy up your wardrobe. Get your limited edition game day hoodie for 24 hours at www.bowie4.com. See you out on the open waters. And we'll see you next time on the Varsity Media Sports Network. For my fantastic partner, Syosset assistant coach Joe Taglia, I'm Gavin Shaw. We want to thank our entire Varsity Media crew, our executive director, Ben Turchin, our fantastic technical director, Chris Sweeney, and running the cameras, getting you all these shots, Ron Pierre and Jeff Damo. I'm Gavin Shaw, one final time, signing off from Farmingdale High School, 10-3 victory for the Dalers over Massapequa.